Let's move on. Just 4 days ahead of Home Minister Rajnath Singh's visit to Pakistan, former Pakistani ambassador to the United States has warned against hoping for a major breakthrough during this visit. Speaking exclusively to India Today's Smita Sharma, the senior Pakistani diplomat added that terror mastermind Hafiz Saeed should be put in jail immediately.
Ambassador Haqqani, does the SAARC platform provide another occasion perhaps to try and be friends?
I think that the SAARC platform is primarily about SAARC. I do not expect a breakthrough from the visit of Home Minister Rajnath Singh. In any case, we live in an era in which the first date does not always result in a marriage, and Pakistan and India have had too many first dates. They have underlying problems. Pakistan has to address the issue of terrorism, and I don't think right now either side is ready for moving forward in becoming friends.
You know, we saw the foreign ministers in fact hold consultations in Pokhara, and then your team, which also included an ISI member, the government drew much flack here. They visited Pathankot. Post that, we have not seen any action, and sources tell us that there will be at least a pull aside, if not a structured bilateral, where India will once again. So has Pathankot now become the sort of latest obstacle for the dialogue process to go ahead?
Well, Pathankot is just one of many obstacles. It's more a symbol of the problem rather than the problem. The problem is that every time India and Pakistan are about to start talking to each other, a major gesture is taken by either an Indian leader or a Pakistani leader, like Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif coming for Prime Minister Modi's inauguration, or Prime Minister Modi going for Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's birthday. Whenever something like that happens, there is a constituency in Pakistan that undermines the process. Unfortunately, now in India too, there is a very strong anti-Pakistan constituency evolving. So normal relations do not occur just as a result of a pull aside or a bilateral. I think that Home Minister Rajnath Singh will reiterate India's concerns and complaints, and the Pakistani side will repeat what it has done before. If Pakistan really wanted to address India's concerns, it would actually take action against those who are already in prison for involvement in the 26/11 attacks. The problem is Pakistan has yet to make the big decision. Pakistan has acted against some terrorists, but it hasn't acted against terrorists who operate in Afghanistan and India. And the day that decision is taken, at least the terrorism issue will be off the table, and the two sides will be able to move forward on figuring out how do we develop better relations long term.
You know, the fact is that India granted that access to Pakistan to come into one of its forward air base, something that had never happened before, even if, of course, you know, it was an escorted tour. But at this end of the day, forget action against Masood Azhar. On the contrary, we see a Hafiz Saeed coming out on the streets and openly acknowledging his ties with Lashkar-e-Taiba, which he had kept silent all this while, and saying that Lashkar-e-Taiba is actually helping protests in Jammu and Kashmir.
Hafiz Saeed should be in prison, and people like me should be free to tell the people of Pakistan what the advantages are of Pakistan becoming friends with its neighbors. But that is not the case, which is why I am less optimistic about the immediate future. The longer term
concern of not taking action, why this sort of hesitation and not taking action against Hafiz Saeed?
I think that the concern of the Pakistani establishment is that the people that they have already trained, and they are still currently training for operations against India, they will all turn on the Pakistani state. But more important than that, the Pakistani state would like the issue of Kashmir to remain central, and people like Hafiz Saeed help do that, at least in their opinion. A lot of the opinion building about Kashmir takes place inside Pakistan. Internationally, Pakistan doesn't have much support on it. It becomes a means of keeping the country together, in the opinion of some people. It's also a means of letting Pakistan's security establishment remain ascendant.
But, you know, having said that, finally, even while we know that the Kashmir issue acts as a glue for sections within Pakistan, but what is happening today in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir following those elections? We see constant, in fact, protests. We are seeing burning of effigies, of posters. Have people rejected the elections that the Indian government says is a complete farcical exercise?
Look, either we are still in 1948, where we are still considering all of Kashmir, the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, as a disputed territory, or we come to 2016 when we realized that there is part of Kashmir that is administered by India and part of it administered by Pakistan. There is problem on both sides. There is definitely disaffection in the Kashmir Valley, which India must pay attention to, and Pakistan must pay attention to the unhappiness that one finds both in Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. Unfortunately, that is not the case. In my book, Pakistan versus India, Why Can't We Just Be Friends? I explain why the real problem between Pakistan and India is not any particular dispute, but the lack of will to be friends.
Okay, so and finally, if Narendra Modi does make it to Pakistan for the SAARC summit meeting, he did make it that unscheduled stop in Lahore. How does that change dynamics? Do you have any expectations from that?
I think that it will be a good gesture if he goes for the SAARC summit. He will convey to the people of Pakistan that India is serious about continuing to engage with Pakistan. But I'm one of those who believes in engagement without illusions. I think that there is no reason why we shouldn't engage as neighbors, but at the same time, until and unless the Pakistani establishment changes its outlook towards India and stops considering India an eternal enemy, and some forces in India that consider Pakistan a permanent enemy stop thinking like that, we will not see the kind of breakthrough we always anticipate after each interaction. Look, there have been 55 summit-level meetings between Indian and Pakistani leaders since 1947. If 55 haven't resulted in major change in our relationship, a 56th is not going to change things in any significant way.
Deputy Editor Smita Sharma, who got us that interview with Hussain Haqqani, is now joining us with more details. Smita, a very interesting point there when he says engagement without illusion. What does he mean by that? Is expecting Pakistan to act on terrorism emanating from its soil an illusion as far as India is concerned, at least at this juncture?
Well, it definitely looks like that. That is also one of the illusions, and also the illusion that, you'll be able to overnight try and solve a problem that has actually festered for so long. Because clearly, when Ambassador Hussain Haqqani, I asked him as to, what is the hesitation really for the Pakistan establishment or for the Pakistani forces to act against terror operatives, the likes of a Masood Azhar or Hafiz Saeed. He said that, as a Pakistani citizen, clearly he has been, of course, targeted by the army in the past, especially after we saw the US forces that brought down Osama bin Laden. And at that point in time, Hussain Haqqani was posted in America. He underwent a huge controversy in that memo scandal. So he clearly said that, it's the kind of liberal voices that are targeted instead of these kind of terrorists who should be behind bars, who should be sent to prison. And it is up to Pakistan to try and clean up this mess which has been created internally, but at the same time, also forces within India to keep their expectations realistic.
Smita, many thanks for joining us with those details. In fact, we're getting some more breaking news related to the same issue.